You are listening to the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast with your host, Aaron Zamzow.
Hey everybody, Aaron Zamzow here with the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast. I have a very special podcast today. I am interviewing Kyle Kondoff, and some of you may know him if you follow FRF. He has been one of our success stories that we've highlighted numerous times. He's also known as the diabetic firefighter, and he has really overcome a lot of adversity and really is motivating. He motivates me just to know what he's gone through. So I recorded about a 15-minute interview with him just talking about the different things that he has overcome, gives you a little idea into his mindset and what he does and how he overcomes, not only the various injuries and hardships that he's had to overcome physically, but also dealing and working with diabetes, being a type 1 diabetic. So I hope you enjoy this. I know I enjoyed talking to him, and you can find more of Kyle on the Fire Rescue Fitness Facebook page, and you can connect with him and reach out to me, and I'll definitely get you in touch with him. So please take a listen and enjoy. Hey everybody, Aaron Zamzow here. I am actually finally with Kyle. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. We've tried different live feeds, but the purpose of our conversation is, Kyle's a really motivating guy. He's actually motivated me a lot of times, based on what he was gone through, and I've known for like 3 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
He's gone through injury. He's gone through challenges with diabetes. He's gone through hiring processes. He's gone through it all the last couple of years, and here he is, more fit than he's ever been, more healthy, real positive attitude. So I wanted to spotlight him a little bit. So Kyle, tell us a little bit. So, like I said, you and I know each other for quite a while, but you reached out to me with an injury, and it's real, it kind of brings it closer to home, seeing like Dak Prescott compound fracture his leg, right? So you can kind of relate to that.
Yeah. So luckily it wasn't a compound fracture, but so I was on a smoothbore nozzle, and we were doing a pump-ops training at my volunteer department, and it was September 7th, 2017, and I know that date because, I told you the story, but just a little backstory. The reason why I'm a firefighter is because I had my life saved, so I wanted to save other people's lives. I was a MVC ped. I was a pedestrian that was hit by a vehicle, and whenever I live in San Antonio, whenever they got there, they pronounced me on scene, and paramedics ended up bringing me back and stuff. But the funny part is that was September.
When that happened?
I was 19.
Jeez, man.
And yeah, I was 19 years old, but that was September 8th, 2007. And the ankle injury was September 7th, 2017. So and I basically got hit at 12:09 a.m. on September 8th. So it was 10 years to the day of whenever I was hit by the car. So that's why I bring it up. It's just like so yeah. And what is it? It's been 3 years now. So 7 years on that day, I'm gonna stay home for probably that whole week.
Yeah. We know
everything happened for me in 10, I guess. So anyway, I was holding a smoothbore nozzle, and the guy was pressuring up the truck, and he was going slowly. But the guy that was training him said, no, just open it up. Well, what he didn't realize is he also had the smoothbore and the fog on the front bumper, so he had the truck pressured probably about 180 or something like that. He didn't gate it down. And they estimated, because they don't know for sure, they shut it down as soon as they saw me laying on the ground, but they estimated that my nozzle was up about 150 PSI for a smoothbore nozzle.
Right.
And so it picked me up, lifted me off the ground, twisted me around. I fractured my leg, ankle, and foot in 7 places. I ended up having to have screws and plates placed in there. And once I was healed, I went back to the fire station, and quality of life and trying to put on the boots, the gear, and everything, I had to get the metal taken out because it's just for me. So that meant another 6 months of recovery. So it took me about a year and a month to fully recover. But again, September 7th. The next year, I climbed the Tower of the Americas in San Antonio for 9/11, and that's a two-time climb because it's 65 stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, and I felt pretty good after that because I said, I mean, if I can do that, I can do anything. But originally, I had found FRF through it might have even been a Facebook ad. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I had bought the program, and then I was injured. And I messaged you, and I said, hey, look, this is what it is, and whatever. And you were like, hey, man, no problem. Here's your money back. Keep the program. And I was like, man, okay. I'm going to do this program whenever I get back and everything. I was like, this guy's all right. Not only am I getting my money back, but I'll keep the program. And very rare these days. That's kind of the old way of thinking it. So yeah. I just felt appreciative at that point of it. So anyway, whenever I was doing rehab, I started doing FRF, and I started working out more. And believe it or not, because of that injury, I got to be the most fit that I had ever been in my life. But back in January 2015, I started having blurry vision, frequent thirst, frequent urination.
Right.
And January 10th, 2016, I officially diagnosed myself as a type 1 diabetic because I was like, okay, 36 hours of blurry vision. I told my wife, look, we need to go to the hospital. Actually, let me go buy a meter first. So I went and bought a meter, and it was $394. Oh, yeah. And I called a nurse friend of mine, which was kind of funny because, you look back at it now, normal non-diabetic doesn't go over 200, much less about 180. And she said, oh, well, what did you eat? I said, we had Sonic a little while ago. It was about 30 minutes ago. She said, wait at least another 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, I'll test again. So it's 4:02. So I looked at that time it was my fiance, but I was like, hey, let's go to the hospital. Let's get checked out. And of course, they diagnosed me as type 2. So I looked at the car as a time. I looked at diabetes as a time, and then I looked at the fire hose as a time. But to look at my life and try to figure out, what exactly I need to change and change for the better. And specifically for the car, I was breaking curfew that night. I was going to a lingerie party at 19 years old.
Yeah, right.
I was planning on drinking, I was going to be doing whatever. And then my relationship was as strong as ever. He stayed in the hospital with me every single day, came up during lunch and stuff, and we're best friends to this day. So it's just, it changed everything for the better. Diabetes for me changed my lifestyle. It changed my diet, changed everything. I know I posted about low carb and keto and stuff, but yep. I follow a low carb, high protein plan because
lots of vegetables,
for me,
right?
it's the best.
Lots of vegetables.
Lots of vegetables.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I always tell people, stick to the 4 main food groups: meat, cheese, eggs, and green veggies. And I get my green veggies because I eat salads all the time. But steak and broccoli, that's not bad either.
Nope.
But so trying to control a disease that I have to use insulin and everything through diet and exercise as well has helped me. And that's where FRF has come into play, because for the last 2.5 years, almost now, I've been doing the FRF programs, and I have gone back and forth between weight and between gaining weight and losing weight, but I am trying not to get injured anymore, so that hopefully I can continue to lose a little bit of the fat and put on the muscle. And I've been doing that lately because I feel pretty good.
Yep.
But you alluded to my other injury. Yeah, I know. There's another one.
Yep.
so it goes with the shoulder.
And that's what I mean. When people look at this, look, we all have our journey. Like, we all have our excuses. And I was trying to, before we were trying to go live, I was saying, look, Kyle is a prime example. Like, and I didn't know about he's basically goes through a fatal car crash at 19, rehabs from that, starts to then change his life around because he's like, hey, I want to be that guy that helps people. As he gets involved with that, shatters his leg, his ankle. In between that, realizes that he has a disease, diabetes, that was undiagnosed. And it's like every single time you get punched in the face, you kind of look at the punch and smile and go, all right, I'm going to get a little bit better. And I think that's the main thing. And then, and I remember the ankle, and I remember, we've had a lot of conversations, but then in January, you're like, well, I got to get my shoulder surgery. So tell us a little bit. So you just had shoulder surgery, right?
So yeah, unfortunately because of COVID, it ended up getting pushed back, but it was April 24th. So, what is the date today? Actually, it's the 21st, 22nd.
Yep.
So we're almost looking at April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, so it's 6 months in 2 days. So, I feel pretty good for having shoulder surgery 6 months ago. There's still pain and stuff, but so I don't know exactly what it was, but there was a time where last year we were throwing the football around as a crew, and I felt a little bit of pain in there, but again, this is whenever I started feeling it in like September.
Yeah.
And, I worked out in the oil rigs and stuff, and I would get massages because I was on a confined space and rope rescue team, and we would have harnesses on, so it would always be uncomfortable and stuff. So I had a massage lined up. And so I went and got a massage, and I told the masseuse, that I had problems and stuff, and she said, you probably want to go, there's a place called Erosti down here, and kind of physical therapy, and then they do some exercises with you and stuff. So I saw that guy for a while, and I think after the third time, he told me, he's like, you should go get an MRI. I don't like to mess with it after the third time. And so I went and got an MRI, so he said, yeah, you definitely have some tears in there. It looks like we can give you cortisone shots and we can see how that goes, which is steroids, or we can do surgery. And I said, well, I told him before, but because of my type 1 diabetes, cortisone and steroids, they will increase my blood sugar levels unbelievably, and it's very rough. I had a nerve blocker for my leg surgery, and that was unbearable because I was in the 200s, 300s. Day after surgery, it was horrible for the entire weekend, on top of leg pain. Right. So anyway, so I ended up getting the surgery instead, and everything got pushed back because of COVID. It was supposed to be in March, and I recovered. I did everything that I could, going with FRF as much as I could, but I made adjustments to the workouts, and so going back to you get kicked down, you get back up again. I always believe if you fall off the horse, you get right back on it. And I tried my best to do that. I'm definitely not perfect. But I also try to encourage others because and it's kind of funny because my Instagram blew up whenever I put my moniker as the T1D firefighter. Everybody's just like, oh, you're a type 1 diabetic and you're a firefighter. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey, it's really cool. I like it and everything, but, it is what it is. Hey, hold on just a second. Yes, sir.
Are you trying to check in?
No, I'm fishing.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I thought you were trying to check in. I thought it's coming early.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Well, that was nice. Yeah, and
that was funny.
That's it's funny because you're enjoying your life, but people have probably saw the progress picture you in a sling, and then you lost some body fat, you gained some strength through that whole process, and now you kind of you've been real instrumental on commenting and helping others on the crew page, which is why I'm like, hey, I want to give this guy, I want everybody to know your story. But you have a cause. Like right now, you joined the fire service to give back, and now you're trying to give back through, I think, Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, and then you have some other things that you try to champion for. And I encourage, if you guys are watching this on the crew, reach out to Kyle. He's doing a lot of challenges. He's doing some push-up challenges and sit-up challenges. We don't broadcast all of them through the crew page because unfortunately Facebook would bury a lot of that stuff. But reach out to him. And so what's I think November is the month, correct?
Yeah, so November is National Diabetes Awareness Month, so fair warning if you are my friend. You'll see a new post every single day because we get the word out. So I'll say this, though, as far as diabetes, it's funny because I've even had family members who were like, man, you post a lot of stuff, and that's the whole reason why I created my Instagram, was because they're like, you can lay off the diabetes stuff, and I was like, you know what? Forget you, man.
Yeah.
I got my Instagram, and now I keep on posting on Facebook. But so what happened for me personally was I had a friend who is a firefighter in a neighboring department. Well, he retired now, and he was talking about his daughter being sick and everything last year. And so whenever he said that, I was like, hey man, you should go get her checked out for diabetes. So then she started having more problems over the holidays. And then right at the beginning of the year, she was diagnosed with hand, foot, and mouth disease, and a lot of people are whenever they're, eventually type 1 and stuff because of the way they feel and all kinds of stuff. And I think it was just before the pandemic, whenever I put on a post, whenever she was talking about, his wife was talking about their daughter, and she said something about how she was drinking a lot and she was peeing, and I said, please go get her checked for diabetes. And everybody started commenting, yes, do this. So finally they did, and then they started private messaging me, and out in a way of constant communication, she was diagnosed. I believe she's 4. And, it is known as juvenile diabetes, but it's type 1 diabetes now because people like me are diagnosed later on in life. I was 27 years old whenever I was diagnosed. And so there's people that are being diagnosed at 56, 60, up in their 80s. And it's just because our bodies get attacked by something. Some people believe it's a vaccine. Some people believe it's other stuff. Yeah. But no matter what, it's our body being attacked and our beta cells, our immune system, trying to fight it off. And our beta cells die, which is our insulin-producing cells. So then we have type 1 diabetes because we have to inject insulin. So it's just, it's a way to educate and advocate for ourselves, because somebody sent me a long post from EMT class, and not to get into the politics, but he just basically called me a liberal because I want everything free now, and I don't want stuff free, right. And I don't need insulin. I have plenty of it, and I want to give it away to people, but unfortunately, it's called a prescription drug, and no matter what, insulin is a hormone, so it's not even a drug. But he said a lot of things, and I responded back, you can talk about cancer patients, you can do all this, but do you know anybody that has to have something in their body that other people have that regulates their blood sugar, regulates any part of their body, and you can kill yourself by giving too much or too little, And so that's why we kind of advocate. Right. The diabetic online community is huge. And
it's really just about making things affordable, right? It's not about free. It's about just making it affordable for people, because it's such an essential hormone, in that it's not. Yeah. And a lot of times too, I'm sure there's a lot of people that watch this are like, man, maybe I or know someone that's affected by it, and and you really hit the point is, look, if you can help a couple people and they can help a couple people, you change the world that way. And and that's why I really wanted to let people know who you were. And, when you comment on stuff, this is a guy who has lived this. He works out like he should. He eats like he should. He's kind of thrust into having to do it. But, the next time that you have an excuse and don't want to work out, I want you to remember Kyle, and reach out to him. And, I'm motivated by it, buddy. And I'm very appreciative that, you tell the story about how I'm like, yeah, I'll give you your money back. And I do that quite a bit. I mean, for me, it's not about the money. It's about being able to give back to the fire service, which I love. And for you, it's the same thing. And, you just have a little, added mission because of what you've gone through. And I think that's admirable, brother. And I can't thank you enough for the support you give us and motivation. And, and look, reach out to him. I encourage people to if they send you a message, you obviously talk to them and friend them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you could follow a little bit more about what the journey that he has on the diabetic side of things. And I think you do a great job of, hey, this is what I do for fitness and this is what I do for diabetes, and then you kind of combine them through nutrition. So I appreciate the time, and I can't thank you enough, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if anybody wants to talk more about, and I've got all kinds of people that are against it and all kinds of things, but low carb and keto and everything else. And I'm not a nutritionist, but I've been living this way for 3 years. And it's funny because doctors will go in and try to tell you what your body is like and everything, but you're the expert because you're living with your body. It comes to that a lot with nutrition. It comes to that a lot with diabetes as well. But we know what's right for us. And so, help out anybody, but there's plenty of people that I'm helping right now, and I'd love to help out more. So, yeah, feel free to reach out there, and also you can look at my Instagram and see that.
Yep, and I think that you make a great a point there. It's you have to be an advocate for yourself, but you also have to educate yourself. How do you feel after you eat certain foods? And I think that's why, and you mentioned like keto and low carb. You actually, it's not so low, but you just don't do the pastas and the rices and such. You keep it controlled. Fruits and vegetables, right? Like, and you have to watch fruits a little bit more based on what's going on. But, I think to me, that's the biggest thing is you bring up a great point. You monitor what goes in your food or in your mouth. You monitor how you feel, and you make adjustments. That's how you become more healthy. In a nutshell, right? So, and Kyle's perfected that. Well, he understands that. And that's why he's a great, perfect person to have. Hey, well, brother, thank you so much. Stay safe. I look forward to more of your comments and coaching and encouragement. And, you're motivating your FRF, and I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot for all you do.
Thank you for listening to the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast with your host, Aaron Zamzow. Please tune in again soon for more fitness tips for fire rescue athletes.